What is the best piece of advice that you've received? Riding motorcycles. There's a graveyard full of dead riders who had the right of way. Amen. Also, dress for the slide, not the ride. Quote, if you accompany that with some pictures it can be pretty effective. This was advice my father gave me too. I think he had an accident early in life. Because he was a fierce advocate for safety gear. Beyond the normal, you need to wear it every time. He spent probably thousands on the best and safest gear. I inherited all of it when he passed. But I don't have a motorcycle. So I'm the safest bicycle rider this town has ever seen. You wouldn't care what people think of you if you knew how seldom they do. Nobody dwells on you except yourself. Not even your parents. Mom. You don't have to show up to every argument you're invited to. But, what if somebody is wrong on the internet? Well then you are not even invited, so it would be rude to attend. Don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm, monsieur. One of my all-time favorite sayings, and so true. I used to try and please everyone, now I know to take care of myself first and foremost. If you have anything left over after taking care of yourself, that's when you can help others. Treat things as an opportunity, not an expectation. If you're expecting a certain outcome, then you'll generally be disappointed, but if you are looking at it as an opportunity for things to go one way or another, you'll usually be happier with the outcome and not stress over it if it's negative. It's a lot easier to see silver linings or benefits in things when you're not expecting the outcome to be a certainty, and you'll be a lot more appreciative of said outcomes when you're not already starting at a benchmark. Control the controllable, let the rest go. I use this after having Mexican food. Smiley face. Comparison is the thief of happiness. If you compare yourself to others, you will become vain or bitter. It's so. I study engineering, which is pretty competitive. People in my cohort who compare themselves to others are either really up themselves or really depressed. Take the time and make the effort to figure out your boundaries. I wish so many people did set boundaries and expect them to be respected. When they are violated, make it clear that that was a violation. And GT, when they are violated, make it clear that that was a violation. Use a penalty flag. Unless you're a rock star in your field, your connections at work are most likely going to present the best opportunities for you down the line. Networking matters. Asterisk. It's not what you know, it's not a who you know, it's who knows you. Asterisk edit. Obligatory. Thanks for the gold, stranger, but this doesn't belong to me. It goes to my business teacher instead, who won't be getting back for a few weeks. He's the one who taught me this expanded version, and he deserves the credit for it. Pretty sure it's who you blow. No one who is great at something was always great at it. Sucking at something is the first step towards being sorta good at something. I miss Adventure Time. Marriage advice: pick your battles. Seriously. This helped me so much over the years, as I've come to understand that most things just aren't important enough to argue over, and that you don't lose anything by letting things go. A good way to implement this is when you disagree and feel like you need to argue. Ask yourself, will this matter in an hour, a week, a month, a year? At some point it does matter. So that is the battle to pick. But it eliminates the stupid fights over trivial crap. I always say with marriage arguments that you can be right or you can be happy. Sometimes it's worth being right. Most of the time it's better to compromise, taking what you said. If it's gonna matter in a year's time, it might be worth standing your ground and being right, winning the argument. If it's something more trivial, compromise and work together. Learning to pick battles will seriously help reduce conflict in relationship. Close your mouth and open your ears. Nobody hears if everyone is talking. You'll be amazed at what you learn. Measure twice, cut once. I actually sometimes recall the moment my uncle told me that in a conversation when I was maybe 13 or 14. I think we were talking about it literally, 'cause I did have a woodworking class in school at the time. It has helped me be more cautious when doing certain things though, like when doing a task where I can't redo it if I fuck up. I'll be super careful at each stage to be very aware of what's going on. Once you learn something, no one can take it away from you. It really resonated with me, since I grew up with instability and uncertainty. Dementia enters the room, immediately forgets what it went in for, and exits again. Don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't also take advice from, Monsieur. *Edit. This advice was geared more toward those people that work with those people that want to bring you down for no constructive reason other than to make you feel like shit. I'm a former people pleaser, so it was really hard for me to discern which criticism was worth a hit to my self-esteem, Monsieur. Sometimes people are just douche canoes and will beat you up mentally because they're in a bad mood. Wow, that's a really good one, but I still like trying to figure out where does it come from, mostly asking why they think that. I changed a lot of people's mind about me doing this because of a misunderstanding or a mistake I did and didn't realize. But of course, there are always unreasonable people that still hate me to this day for no apparent reason, lol. It will still be here tomorrow. Wisdom from my boss on having a huge to-do list at work and not stressing over it. Get done what you can today. What you don't finish will be there to work on tomorrow, and you don't need to take the mental baggage of having a big to-do list home with you. My dad once told me, half-jokingly, that live fast, die young doesn't work if you don't die young. Quote, he has a bunch of health problems now due to not taking care of himself when he was younger. It really opened my eyes to how the way I treat my body now will have repercussions decades in the future. After hearing that phrase and seeing his health issues accumulate, I've started eating much healthier and exercising more frequently. Always under-promise and over-deliver. Nothing is awkward until you convince yourself that it is. This is very similar to the most useful piece of advice I've ever gotten. It's only as awkward as you make it. It feels weird because I used to feel awkward very often, but at some point in high school I heard this advice, and in the decade since I really don't remember that feeling of awkward. It's kinda just went away. I got one that's less deep than the others here. $1 saved today is worth more than $1 saved 10 years later. The best time to plant a tree is 100 years ago. Second best time is now. If you wouldn't let the people you despise living in your house, why let them live in your head? Good one. If you lend someone your pen for a minute, don't give them the lid. You'll always get your pen back. I always lose my pen lids in the first week of school, but I see what you mean. Just borrow a pen lid then. If you can't hide it, as in, if you slip and fall on your ass in front of a group of people, stand up and take a bow. If you make an embarrassing typo, make a joke about it. Acting embarrassed only makes embarrassing situations worse. Embrace it and laugh about this work. At my first ever cross-country meet, I was leading a small pack in the sprint to the finish line. Being my first race though, I was still confused on how everything worked, and the chute where to finish wasn't marked clearly. I ended up missing the chute and having to turn around and go back in order to finish. Instead of being embarrassed and crying, I just laughed and made a joke about it. Now it's a running joke on my team. All my teammates make sure to jokingly point out the finish line at every meet. Being able to embrace mistakes is definitely a good habit to get into. Live in reality as it is, not as you wish it was. This little snippet really changed how I approach life in my early 20s. My friend said something simple: don't have regrets for choices you made, because at the time, it was what you wanted. Don't recall where I heard this. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Op. Since you're still young, always remember this, as the people who you surround yourself with, especially in your young adult life, will have a profound impact on the rest of your adulthood. Surrounding yourself with driven and intelligent people will influence you positively. Yes, you can't climb higher if you're sitting at the top of a ladder. Be decisive, right or wrong, the road of life is paved with flat squirrels that couldn't make a decision. Even the wrong decision is better than no decision. I'm very indecisive, so I have to ask, be the person you needed growing, not even just growing up. Be the person you needed when you got hired for that new guy at your job. or the one you needed when you were sick, when someone else is going through a difficult time. When the going is good, people forget so quickly the daily struggles they overcame to get there. The little things to help out and remind people they aren't alone can mean the world. Talk less, listen more. Love, trust and respect is what you need in a quality long-term relationship. All have to be present and they have to be mutual. Love without trust and respect is not really respect is what you need in any relationship, romantic or otherwise. And trust stems from that. Honest work is better pay. Parents taught me this, and I always applied it when doing indoor painting and repair work. Sometimes, my customers would figure out little things that I did later on, like taking doorknobs off before painting just in case they wanted to change out knobs. Word of mouth travels fast when the person they're paying good money to doesn't screw them and pays attention to detail.